So what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's Aleksi here. So in this video I want to talk about purely God and God being the orchestrator of the universe, and the fact that God orchestrates everything for us, and everything is orchestrated by God if you just pay attention on your faith journey. Once you find that out and you experience God really in your life and see God in a sense almost like face to face, but not seeing face to face exactly, but in the sense that you can see when he's orchestrating stuff in your life, and maybe it's even miracles or like just ordinary things. And when you see that, you can really come to know the truth and see God, and then you can know his intentions better for you and also start experiencing God more in your life. And you're gonna have true faith, and you're gonna be able to basically be like Job from the Bible. And he had also the experience of seeing God really, and then he said that word that he really finally during his trials really saw God's hand in work, you could say. And he came to know God and really appreciate and submit to God, and it's almost like seeing God's face to face. So this kind of like is the path that you want to go on when you're in faith journey, is actually coming to see God in your life and what he's doing, so you can better understand what he's doing in your life, where he wants you to go, and come to have true faith, because you can't have true belief without actually kind of seeing God orchestrate things in your life. And once you see these orchestrations, you can also take away so much more from these orchestrations usually. Also, if you'd like to help me, donate in the description. It helps a lot to run this channel and to do these videos and continue making these videos, and one-on-ones in the description if you'd like to talk with me personally on one-on-one. But yeah, thank you, helps very much. But back to the topic. So God orchestrates everything in our lives, and through these orchestrations you can see his true intentions, as well as the fact that he is really the sovereign and orchestrator of everything in the universe. Everything you see is being orchestrated as we speak. Every experience, every person's life is being orchestrated. Even if people are blind to it, or don't care, or pretend God doesn't exist, he's still orchestrating everything, the bad and the good, because everything kind of contrasts in our life. The negative experiences also allow us to know the positive experience and have contrast to understand ourselves and how the world works, and understand what like bad people are, what good people are. And this, when you're reading the truth and praying to God and worshiping God, and you're on this faith journey, that's when you really come to understand all these things. You wouldn't be able to understand these things without God and the word of truth. If you're not actually reading, and if you're not actually pursuing God, then you're not actually able to come before God, or you're not able to, in a sense, understand. We still obviously have free will, and we have choices. You have choices that will lead to negative outcomes or positive outcomes. It's like, pick what food do you decide to eat and stuff like that, simple stuff. We still have free will to choose a lot of stuff, and even your pursuing God is a free will choice, just like it's for me and it's for everybody else. And but I think it's kind of an obvious choice anyway. Like, I don't really see why you wouldn't follow God, unless you just want to be a bad person for some reason. But like, there's really no downsides to following God. Of course, you'll go through hardship, but the hardship you'll go through with God is not the same hardship that you'll go through in a sense as a devil, being bad person in the world, living willfully however you'd like. And you're inherently still, it doesn't, not like you going around willfully is gonna make like God disappear. God still orchestrates everything in your life, and it's just going to lead to you suffering a lot more than you would be suffering with God, in a sense, in hardships, because in the long term all those things will compound, and every choice you make will compound. So if you made a lot of right choices and you chose to follow God, you'll obviously gain the blessings of being with God if you're pursuing correctly. And you're coming to contemplate, understand, you are able to follow God and change yourself and really come to submit to God and his orchestrations. Then you gain all of that knowledge, as well as like change in yourself to the light, from the dark, because you can't have light without God. And this is the most important thing you probably understand, is how God does everything. And regardless of if you follow God or not, God still orchestrates and arranges everything. Even if you decide to be disillusioned and kind of like pretend God doesn't exist, he still exists and orchestrates everything righteously. And you can't escape God. you know, like a lot of people also think that they can escape God by, you know, living in the world and, you know, whatever. But the thing is, you don't also understand that God, you know, the spiritual realm comes to us, you know, after this life. You know, once this life is over, we go back to the spiritual realm, and what happens is, you know, you'll pretty much get punished accordingly. And, you know, God is obviously doing his new work right now, so you'll already, like, your faith is already being kind of decided right now, in a sense, on your pursuit. So when you understand that you have to understand that your soul is the only thing that actually matters, and it's the only thing that actually is eternal, in a sense. Like, not eternal, but, you know, eternal, not like God, but like, you know, it's the thing that lasts after death. So when you think about that, we only live here for, like, I don't know, depending how when you die, it could be like 60 to 100 years maybe, if you're lucky, and so on, depending on, you know, God, how he orchestrates your life, because that's also ordained by God, is when we die. When you come to understand that, you understand that this human lifetime flashes by our eyes very fast and quickly, and time just passes by, you know. I'm 26. I'm still relatively young, but, like, you know, life still passes by very fast, you know. Even in the past, like, I don't know, 6 months that have gone by now, that I've been on this faith journey, about this time has also, like, gone by very fast, and I've barely even, like, you know, noticed all the time passing. It's just like slips away from our fingers, right? And even without God, if you don't have God in your life, you know, time still passes by fast. People say that all the time. So think about how quickly your life will pass away, and then you'll be stuck, basically, not actually never having to come to know yourself or know if you did live a good life or a meaningful life, because we can't also live a meaningful life without God, or a good life. So when you understand that, it's important to actually know that God orchestrates everything, and how important for you is to accept and submit to it, because if you do, you'll live a much more meaningful and good life. So, if there's a will, there's a way. Thank you for watching. God bless. I hope this video helps. Amen.